Welcome back to the MMA Fight Realm. Thanks for tuning in. If you are new, it is your boy Chris, and I'm back with another best bets video. This time for UFC Atlantic City. I'm gonna give you guys my lock of the week, my dog of the week, some parlays, and some props. So yeah, we're gonna talk some bets, man. I hope you guys like the video. Comment, subscribe. Let me know your bets in the comments. And if you guys want to stay tapped in on any fight announcements or anything UFC or anything that has to do with the channel in terms of my picks or live odds, I got all that stuff at MMA Fight Realm on Instagram, guys. Follow the Instagram to stay tapped in. And yeah, man, let's talk these bets. So lock of the week for the channel this week, minus 225. I don't like being in the minus 200s when I'm picking a lock. Last week I went with Miles Johns minus 180. And I just don't think he should be a minus 225. And he's going to look a lot better than that. I really think he's going to get this fight done by finish. I'm going with Nursultan Ruziboyev. Nursultan Ruziboyev 1-0 in the UFC. Only one fight, I understand. But he's got over 40 fights in the cage, man. And, yes, he might have faced some opponents where they shouldn't have been in there with him and maybe some setup fights. It is what it is. But cage experience, all right? Speaking on just cage experience, he's not going to be worried or nervous about those bright lights, man, or his opponents. I really think that he knows how to stick to his game plan. He always has a game plan. He's got 20 submission wins, 11 knockouts. Man, we're talking about a guy who's, he gets finishes in there, all right, when he does win. And he's no stranger to it. We saw that against Bruno Ferreira. He threw a naked calf kick. Ruziboyev, with his experience, he knew exactly what to do with that, all right? So you can't get away with some mistakes against Ruziboyev, and he showed that in his debut. I think Dumas, I don't want to speak on his situation, but he didn't have the best of training camps for this fight. And I don't think that he has looked very impressive in the UFC overall, man. Taking on Abu Azaitar, you got to finish that guy. You got to finish that guy. With the height and reach advantage and the athleticism that we see out of him, he didn't use enough of it to even become a serious threat in that fight, and he just dragged it out to a decision and slightly won, all right? And Josh Fremd was able to submit him in the first round. We're going to see likely the same here in this fight, man. Ruziboyev, he's got a slick ground game. If not, he's got power. He's got heavy hands, man. We saw that in his debut. I'm going with Ruziboyev to get this one done. I think he's going to look like a minus 500 in there. And for that reason, that's why he's my lock of the week. Hope you guys lock that in. Ruziboyev, I'm parlaying him. I'm moneylining him. I got some props for you guys. We're going to talk all that, man. That's the lock of the week. Lock that in. Let's get into the parlays. All right. So Ruziboyev, for sure, is on this parlay. And then I got Ibo Aslan. So this is a 2-leg for plus 165. Ibo Aslan, light heavyweight, making his debut in the UFC. What better opportunity to make your debut in the UFC than take on an opponent who you've already faced? And better yet, he's had some success against him. Yes, he lost, and it's his only loss in his career. So he's got a chip on his shoulder about this fight. That's for sure. And, there was no, handshake in that face-off. We saw the ceremonial weigh-ins today. So these two, they definitely got a little bit of a feud amongst each other. And in that first fight, Ibo was having his way. He was kicking him with those calf kicks. He's got great calf kicks. He's got good striking, heavy hands. And he just wasn't composed. He didn't maintain his cardio, and he gassed out. He gassed out bad. He got out grappled in that second round real bad, and submitted very easily. Very easily, I will say that. But I'm parlaying him, and I'm confident in parlaying him because I do think that he, like I said, he was having his way in this fight. And now, after, I think going on a 4-fight win streak, all by knockout. No other fighter other than Anton Turkalj has been able to take him another round since. And now he's getting this rematch against Turkalj. He should know that he's got to be ready for 15 minutes. He's got to be ready for 15 minutes. And in his Contender Series fight, he looked a lot more composed. He didn't look like he was going to be gassed out if the fight went another round. And he picked his shots. He was very selective. And I like to see that out of him. I'm picking him to get this one done. So I parlayed him with my lock of the week, Nursultan Ruziboyev, for a plus 165, guys. Plus 165 for that 2-leg. And I like that 2-leg. I think it's going to cash, man. That's one parlay. And I got a 3-leg for you guys. It's Ruziboyev, once again. That's my lock of the week. You already know. And I already talked about how he's going to get it done. And then I got Julio Arce and Bill Algeo for a 3-leg. Now, let me talk about him, man. Julio Arce, prior to him missing weight today, I was a lot more confident. But, maybe the weight miss, we're making too much about it. The scale, it was a little weird because he came in at 147 and then he had an hour to cut that pound, but he came back heavier. When he came back, he weighed in at 147 and a half. So, strange situation there, but I'm not going to make too much of it. I don't think I'm going to cash out on this parlay or anything. I'm confident in Julio Arce, 95% takedown defense. He's taking on an opponent who doesn't have 15 minutes to fight of fighting in him. And that's what you need to fight a guy like Julio Arce, because he's only been knocked out by Song Yadong and he's yet to be submitted in the UFC. So I'm going with Julio Arce to get this one done. And I think he's gonna style on him. I think he's gonna get this one done by finish in the later rounds when Herbert Burns is gassed out, man. So give me Julio Arce in this parlay, and I got Bill Algeo. Bill Algeo is taking on Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson has had a bit of a resurgence lately, but it's against some opponents who aren't really that level of competition of Bill Algeo, and that's for sure, man. You guys look at these two on paper and who they have fought. It's very clear Bill Algeo has had the tougher opponents, and he's won those fights, man. We're talking about wins over Joe Anderson Brito, and he's knocked out Herbert Burns, man, who's fighting this weekend. So, yeah, man, Bill Algeo, I parlayed him in here. I do think he's going to get the job done against Kyle Nelson. He just has to use his reach and height to his advantage, which he always does. He's got a black belt in his back pocket, and I'm going with Bill Algeo to get that one done, along with the lock of the week, Ruziboyev. This is a 3-leg for plus 160. But I do think you can get better odds on it now, because after Julio Arce missed weight, his line dropped heavy. He's now like a minus 225. When he came into this prior to when I was making my picks video, he was like a minus 500, guys. So the line has come down heavy on Julio Arce, but I do think he's going to get it done. I still am confident, and that's why I parlayed him in this 3-leg with Bill Algeo and Ruziboyev for a plus 160, guys. Those are the parlays, the 2-leg, Ebo and Ruziboyev, 165, plus 165, and then 3-leg, Arce, Algeo, and Ruziboyev for plus 160. Those are the parlays that I have for you guys. Now, let's get into the dog of the week. All right. So, dog of the week, man, you guys know is who I pick, that I'm pretty confident he's at plus odds. Well, I got him at plus odds. I don't know. I think he should still be at plus odds now, but I got him at a plus 105. Connor Matthews, man. I'm going with Boston here, even though I am from New York. It's crazy. It's a little disappointing, man. But I do think that Connor Matthews can get it done, man. He's got great grappling, and he's got good ground and pound finishes in the regional scene. I know that, he hasn't gotten a finish over these higher level of opponents, but if you saw him in his last Contender Series fight, he took on a guy where he was at a serious height and reach disadvantage. I believe the guy had multiple knockout finishes, and he wasn't able to knock out Connor Matthews. Connor Matthews was actually able to land a lot of strikes of his own. He was able to work his own game, dictate the pace in that fight, and he got takedowns in that second round. Listen, man, Connor Matthews is a savage. He makes every fight a dog fight, and he learns from every single fight. His first Contender Series fight was against Francis Marshall, which he lost, but the second time he showed up on Contender, you saw a serious level up in him, and I think we're going to see another level out of Connor Matthews in his debut in the UFC. I'm picking him to get this one done. That's my dog of the week. I got him at plus 105. And I got a prop for you guys that I like for him because I do think that Dennis Bazooka is, you got to respect him. You got to respect him. So let's get to it. Let's get to the props, man. We got some props for you guys. Matthews by decision, my dog of the week, is at plus 250. All right. And Dennis Bazooka, this is Conor Matthews' debut. I'm not saying that he's going to go in there and style on Dennis. I do think that Dennis has fought tough guys, like Jamal Emmers and Sean Woodson. Those guys had a decent amount of UFC experience prior to fighting Dennis. So, it was pretty tough to pick Dennis in those fights regardless, right? And now, he's taking on a guy like Conor Matthews. This is somewhere similar in terms of level of field. These two are in the same realm where we can rank these guys. So I think they're going to match up very well. And I do see this fight going to decision. But I picked Conor Matthews as my dog of the week. I think he's going to get this one done with his wrestling and his striking. He's going to mix it up well. And I'm picking him by decision. So plus 250. Give me Conor Matthews by decision for a prop at plus 250. I think that's a great prop to be putting some money on this weekend. Another one for you guys is Ruzi Boyev by submission. Ruzi Boyev, 20 submission wins already under his belt. And Josh Frem was able to put Cedric Dumas in a submission pretty easily, man. And Dumas tapped out pretty fast. Ruzi Boyev has been training with, in this Philly gym with, Sean Brady, Pat, submission killers like Pat Sabatini, Sean Brady, and them. So I think his BJJ only got better moving down to Philly. And plus 140, Ruzi Boyev by submission. I like that prop for this weekend. I think he's going to get it done inside the distance, and I see him winning by submission. Or even he can win by knockout too, but I'm going to lean on what he's better at. So submission, Ruzi Boyev, plus 140. And then the last prop I have for you guys is Chidi Njokuani. Chidi Njokuani round 1 is plus 200. I am picking him to win this fight. So if I'm picking Chidi, I gotta pick him to get this one done by finish and round 1, man. Because if you guys know, anyone who's watched fights of Chidi Njokuani, his second rounds are extremely questionable, and his third rounds are even worse. So, I don't even think he's even made it to a third round in the UFC yet. This guy, his cardio is extremely questionable, and I do think the first 5 minutes are extremely dangerous, though. So Chidi Njokuani, I'm picking him to win because he's levels ahead of Reese McKee in terms of being a dangerous threat and the striking. Reese McKee, he's been good at eating some shots lately. That's what he's been good at, and taking a beating. But he hasn't been able to deliver, and his height and reach that he's been sometimes he's at an advantage with his height and reach, and he doesn't even use it very well. I don't like Reese McKee's style. I don't think he's going to get it done. And I'm going to go Chidi round 1 plus 200 for a prop to give you guys for this weekend. And there you guys have it, man. Those are the best bets for UFC Atlantic City. Hope you guys like it. And hope you guys tail on any of these. Let me know what you think, and let me know your bets in the comments. Like and subscribe. I'm out of here. Peace.